President's war in Libya has small government libertarians joining forces with big government liberals. With us now are two of these happy bedfellows, the former foreign policy advisor to Congressman Ron Paul's 2008 campaign, Charles Pena, and Fox News contributor and liberal commentator and former Clinton White House aide, my colleague and friend Kirsten Powers. We were talking in the break, Kirsten, that if you closed your eyes, that speech that we just heard tonight could have been given by John McCain or even George W. Bush. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would say George Bush more than John McCain. I always felt that John McCain was actually more of a warmonger than George Bush was. But John McCain's now advocating that we arm the rebels. So he's even further, I think, to the right at this point that Obama is.
But the point is, the president of the United States, who said if John McCain gets elected, we may start a third land war in that part of the world, just did that.
What he laid out tonight was basically a doctrine, if you're going to take it as a doctrine, where we could get involved in, I can think of 5 countries right now we could easily get involved in. Why are we not going to get involved in what's going on in the Ivory Coast? If we're talking about people fleeing a country, he said it's in our national interest it's not in our national interest to let a slaughter happen.
Well, Charles, by that theory, by the Obama doctrine, he can send troops anywhere to slay any monster that he perceives for any reason at any time without telling Congress, and no matter what the cost in human life and tax dollars.
And that's been pretty true of almost any president post-World War II. In fact, I was going to say Bill Clinton could have given tonight's speech because it sounded a whole lot like going in and intervening in the Balkans. And certainly it is very reminiscent of trying to enforce a no-fly zone over Iraq, which we did for over a decade, again, with the purpose of regime change, just not by forcible regime change, meaning boots on the ground. Same exact policy, likely to be the same exact result.
Even for his Democratic critics, like Congressman Rangel and Congressman Kucinich, did the president wait too long to give this speech? Should he have waited 10 days, or should he have stayed home, not gone to Brazil, talked to the Congress?
He should have done what every other president has done in this situation in the past. He should have given a speech from the Oval Office when he made this decision. And for him now to do something, it's not even in prime time, where he's not, and still really did not answer most of the questions I think that people have.
Do we have 2 parties in Washington, or do we have one party, the war party? Whoever's in power likes war, and whoever's out of power supports the one who's in power when it comes to war, Charles.
On foreign policy, I think we have largely one party. And the biggest problem, and this is the problem that President Obama has, it's the problem that President Bush had before him, what is the national security threat here? Not interest, but threat. How does Muammar Gaddafi represent a threat any more than Saddam Hussein represented a threat? That should be the one and only litmus test for putting military force into action, and of course the need to consult with Congress, which of course has abdicated or is
we have about 15 seconds. Were you surprised that Secretary Gates this weekend said there's no national security problems with Libya? We have no national interest there?
I was surprised he said it. I'm not surprised that he thinks it, but it's incredible considering that the president sent a letter to Congress stating that.
Got it. Charles Pena, Kirsten Powers, thanks very much. Up next, the plain truth on what the president said tonight versus the reality of war in Libya.